Hello and welcome friends, welcome family, welcome back to the channel. Hey, hey, hey. This is Museum of Positivity. I just like to be positive because there are just enough negativity and we all don't need to be in the same negativity boat. So today I want to share 8 things that I stopped doing since I turned 50. I have no idea why I didn't do this sooner. Let me know in the comment sections what you started to do at any point in time that better served you. When I reflect back on these things, they are things that now that I no longer do it or I'm very conscious of it, I feel so much freer, so much lighter in terms of what I think about, how I go about doing things on a daily basis. It helps me be much more self-focused and motivated generally in life. So some of these things are things that were more recent. Some of them were things I did, like 3, 4 years ago, and I continue to work on myself. What I realize now that I am an empty nester, I'm all on my own with my kids away at university. These changes were necessary. So I'm so glad that I did do them. So there are 8 things that I stopped doing to make my life easier, freer, much lighter, and more exciting, to be honest, because earlier in life, we are so focused on family, career, prioritizing everybody else. And when I was having a conversation with one of my friends, I was just, as I listened to her, and I thought, yeah, that used to be me. Everybody else came first. Other people's needs came first before mine. So I'm really pleased that I made these changes and now I can look back and share it with you, hoping that it can help you make changes and the reward, and just so that you have a good understanding, or you know that when you make change and focus on yourself, it is very rewarding. So let me not go on too long. So the first thing I did was I stopped prioritizing my 9 to 5. Yeah, let me tell you why this was so crucial for me. And I've talked about this in previous videos, where we cannot afford to be loyal to a company at the detriment of ourselves. So about 10 years ago, when I got laid off, I decided, once I was settled, of course, so it wasn't immediate, I decided that I did not want to put myself in the same situation that, should I be laid off, to be panicking, worrying, and just feeling at loss and crumbling. I didn't want to put myself through that again because it was a horrible situation to be in. And I am so glad for it, because what I did was, whilst I did my job, I decided to focus some energy on thinking about what I wanted to do. What was my passion? What would I love to do? And this is how the whole idea around my African print fashion line was born. But what I realized was, when I started to work on that, it energized me so much, because it was something that I was crafting for myself to give back, to create. It was something that was not related to my day-to-day job, and I was so excited by it. And I didn't know that I could actually do something on the side. So definitely not prioritizing my 9 to 5, in the sense that it was not the be all and end all. And even now, when I ask people about their passion, what they want to do, I still find that there's a lot of people who are so focused on their 9 to 5 that they cannot even think about what to do outside of that. But when I share my excitement about having something on the side, it's kind of like, wow, that's really great. So I'm really pleased that I stopped prioritizing my 9 to 5, but I allowed myself space to think about something on the side that I could do for myself, I create for myself, and it gives me so much joy. So that was the first thing that I started to do a few years back. Then the second one, it's probably around 2 years ago, I would say, is that I stopped working out to look slim. I, for the longest time, I was so focused on what people thought about how I looked, what partners thought about how I looked, my body shape, if I was slim, if I was a size 10. And it drove me many times to the gym, whilst the gym was helping me burn calories, be strengthened, and just really help me be more focused in mind. Ultimately, the focus for me going to gym was I want to look slimmer. When I turned 50 a few years ago, I thought, actually, you know what? I don't give a about looking slim anymore, because one, I never achieved it. I did not achieve again that size 10 once I had my kids. I started to put my needs, how I wanted to look, more at the forefront of my thoughts. And if I am happy with the way that I look, then so be it. If nobody else, if a man is not happy, then hello, look elsewhere. So I started to prioritize my happiness. So if I'm happy with the way that I look, I'm going to the gym to help me feel better, and not to try to look slim for somebody else. So yeah, and it's kind of like the weight fell off, the invisible weight fell off, because then I was more focused on what I wanted to do to de-stress myself, to just feel good about myself, and not about the noise in my ears about you need to look a certain way to be attractive. And when I was talking to my friend a few days ago, I was also sharing with her that we should not focus on going to the gym to look slimmer, because you might not achieve that. It's very difficult to achieve, and the gym does not become fun if it's so focused on working out to look slim. Looking slim, being slim is many things. It's not just losing weight. If you are slim and you eat unhealthily, that's also not good for you. The next thing I stopped doing was putting off my dreams. I talked earlier when I started to focus that I started to focus on my passion, my fashion line, and some other things. And what I realized as I started that journey was that I was a lot more excited about things. And yeah, it was just cool. So that was fairly a quick thing to do, and I would encourage anyone, if you have a passion, you want to do something, paint, go for walks, travel, solo traveling, anything, just do it, because you would realize that there's so much more out there that you are missing out on. Then the next thing, number 5, was shopping online. So I love shopping, and I wasn't always an online shopper, to be honest. I wasn't always an online shopper, but there came a point, especially during COVID, my kids were at an age whereby they enjoyed shopping online. They started to order things and use mommy's credit card, so I got on that bandwagon with them. So I also started to do a lot of online shopping for myself as well. But it got a bit too much. You're buying things that you just don't need. So I just decided at some point, this is more recent, that I'm done with all of that. If I really started to think about, why am I buying the stuff? What purpose is it going to serve me? Do I really need it? And I think once you start asking yourself some really important questions, you realize that you may not need what you're trying to buy. You're buying it because you want, because somebody else had it, because you want to, be fashionable. And we all don't want to look the same. Definitely not. Definitely not. Number 6, I stopped worrying about starting over. There was a point in my life where I was preparing for my kids leaving home, but I worried, what the heck am I going to do? How am I going to survive? When they traveled for a week, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was constantly worrying. And then, of course, knowing that they're going to leave home and go to university, it was like a big, massive worry on my shoulders. What am I going to do when they leave home? I have to find something to do. But the thing is, once I started to focus on alternative ways to spend my time, and that being alone is actually okay, it got easier. Remember, I also talked about prioritizing my 9 to 5, because at some point I had to make a decision that my 9 to 5 is important, but it's not the be all and end all. So I needed to do something on the side. So I started to think about all these things that I needed to do that were important, and that it didn't matter if I had to start things over again. Getting out of my comfort zone is a good thing. And I really started to work on myself to think about, how would it be if I started over? What would I do? And things got really, really exciting. And I'm probably, these things that I'm sharing with you, some of them are kind of like, there's a gray area between them. But I think that for me, they were really important things. Prioritizing oneself, not worrying about starting over. These are not the same thing, because you can prioritize yourself by doing some self-care and some of those things, but starting over, it could be when you lose a relationship. It could be when you lose your job, starting over. So for me, the thought of starting over, I came to realize that it could happen for various reasons, and actually it could be a fun thing, starting over. And I am just embracing this new me and not worrying about what tomorrow is going to be, and just enjoying it, because there's so much more to discover. Yeah. So number 7, and I touched on this a little bit, is just having excess stuff. I am right now decluttering my home. Without my children around, I am decluttering. And my goodness, when I look around at the things I have, I'm like, what do I, they're just sitting there to take up space. I am not using my cabinets on a regular basis. I'm hardly using it. I think 70% of the things I have in my home, they're just there for decoration. And I'm just thinking, what the heck do I have these for? So I'm decluttering. I'm getting rid of things. I am getting rid of things I want to downsize. And the more I do this, as I pick up a piece of item and I look at it and I think, what is this doing in my house? What is it doing for me? Can I be okay not having it? In a lot of the cases, it's just there for me to look at. It's not doing anything, just for me to look at. And when I part with it and I have the extra space, I'm like, wow, that's actually cool. Not having excess stuff. So not buying things for the sake of it, and then getting rid of things that I already have. Just getting rid of things that I already have and stop buying things for the sake of it. is so freeing. Yes. And then my last thing that I wanted to share is about ignoring my needs. And when I talk about ignoring my needs, I'm more thinking about, first of all, this is something that I should have started doing a long time ago. So the first thing is my emotional needs. Last year, I bought my first me car. You know, when I've bought cars in the past, it's a family car. I need to think about the kids. I need to think about driving all over the place with my family. Da, 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 da. But last year, I bought myself a sporty car. It was really low down with a sunroof. And my goodness, it was a car for me, for Chioma. It wasn't about whether my kids needed it or it has to be a family thing. My car. And actually, this settee that I am sitting on is something that I also bought for myself. I wanted a white settee. You know, I didn't care about whether people are gonna touch it. Well, nobody's allowed to sit on it, but I wanted a white settee in my apartment, so I bought one. So really, it's just something that I needed. I was prioritizing myself, and I started this probably just before my 50s, I would say. I just started thinking about, okay, what do I want? And I just buy things that I really liked without thinking about whether it was suitable for somebody else, but just what I wanted to look at myself. And then the second thing that falls into ignoring my needs, I stopped ignoring my needs, was to prioritize the kind of relationships I wanted. Anybody that was not on my same wavelength, I just didn't want to deal with them on a regular basis, especially relationships that were all about taking, taking, taking. How much can I get out of you? I just started to think, okay, if I have to think about what you did to me, what you said to me, how you treated me, and I didn't feel good about it, then you're not my person. I just wanted to deal with you less and less. So I quit ignoring my needs when it came to certain types of relationships. And I focused on what do I want, and that was how I made my decisions, not about what other people thought I should be doing when it came to relationships. If you are not serving me, or you're not on the same wavelength of me, or I am not gaining anything from you, and I mean gaining anything in terms of I can't trust you. You know, if I called on you, you wouldn't help me, but you can call on me and I would help you. There's certain relationships that are just energy zappers, and you just need to stop those. So I stopped being nice just for the sake of it. I started to be nice to myself. And then the final thing in terms of ignoring my needs was I stopped ignoring my spiritual needs. I've wanted so much for so long to be more focused on my relationship with God. And I don't know, I always seemed to think about what other people thought. I wasn't very open. I don't know, I just didn't want to share how my relationship with God, how it was helping me. And it got to a certain point and I'm like, Chioma, you keep wanting to do this. You need to stop worrying about how it made you look and just get on with it. And I just love me for it. It's the best decision. And I think number 8 is probably the best one, because it touches on relationship needs, emotional needs, spiritual needs, and it covers the overall way of my thinking. By not ignoring my needs, specific things for me, I am a happier person. I don't have a problem if somebody doesn't want to talk to me. It's okay. I'm okay with me. I'm happy with me. So I just quit caring about what other people thought or what is the right thing for me to do. And I just focus more on what my needs are. And it's liberating. So Yeah, these are some of the things, 8 things I could think of that I started to do, stopped ignoring, started to prioritize myself, and it makes me feel good. I feel alive, I feel lighter, I feel like, yeah, bring it on. And I can make much faster decisions because I don't have so many things to think through. I don't have to worry about what other people are thinking. I make much faster decisions. And I think this contributed also a lot to how I handled getting laid off. Because when I put me first, I started to focus on, okay, this has happened to me. What do I think about it? It was like, okay, fine. I can find something else to do. So all of this I think are definitely helping me in this season of my life. And I am super cool about it, happy about it. So that's it, guys. All I wanted to share. And let me know in the comment section what things you have stopped doing or started to do to help you be happier, be more grounded and energized in life. Let me know in the comment section and I will talk to you in the next video. Until next time, bye bye.